tayo sa Kababayan Today at pinag-uusapan natin ang pag-produce ng Cultural Night kasama si Professor Dom Magwili. Ngayon naman, pag-uusapan natin ang generational issues mula sa ating Filipino-American community. Okay, so Dom, a lot of the Filipino-Americans that live here, that are first generation, have a hard time relating to the second gen. Why is this the case?
Because they're different. Different sensibility, different aesthetic, what they think is important, different style. They're different.
Even though we're one and the same,
well,
right?
It might as well be. It's like a country mouse, a city mouse feeling.
Yes.
You have different values. To resolve that takes a great deal of understanding. You need a lot of peacemakers. You need a lot of people to serve as bridges with each other.
Okay,
Yeah.
give me advice. How can I serve as a bridge? How can this show serve as a bridge? Give me advice on what I can do with this program because you're in media and you're someone that I look up to. You have mentored me, especially when I was at UCLA, and I looked up to you. I remember having to write our experience of why you're in this class. And I remember specifically what I wrote to you was that I want to understand what everyone is going through because it's high time that we are represented in media. So Dom, what advice would you give me here on Kababayan Today to be able to address these generational issues? How can I help our people get along?
I think you're doing it. I think by bringing onto your stage and interviewing a big range of Filipinos, newly immigrated, American-born, in the same context. We don't see everybody segmented into department. Well, there are American-borns over here, and then there are immigrants over here, and there's a big wall in between. No, actually, it's very similar to our regular families. Some have migrated recently. Some of us were born here, and we eat at the same table. We're eating the same food. I think the key is we have to eat the same food. But in this case, we're feeding our heads. And I urge you to be inclusive in your choices of who you bring in to speak on to whatever what. I was observing in the previous interview of domestic violence. Well, that doesn't have any regard to who's immigrated or who's American-born. Everybody shares in that distress. That becomes common cause. So I think that becomes important. The notion of common cause, of unification, the things that are really important binds us all together.
Yes.
Ideas of family, of aspiration, of dreams. Well, it is a very odd thing, you know. My dad, when he was alive, he came here, it was like $17 in his pocket. And now, generations later, a young immigrant comes in and they are very well-to-do. And it's like, is there fairness? No, there's not. That is life. But somewhere at the table, we all sit down and we're all eating pancit. You know, we're all consuming the same foods and dealing with the same issues.
Yes, and that is what brings us together. Us being Filipino, we have certain cultural things that are very unique to us. Not just the food, the sensibilities, but also the expectations in education.
Yes.
And I think that a lot of students that I've been able to speak to say that Filipino parents have a lot of expectations on their children. What can you say about that?
Well, I think that's just a parental hope for the future.
Absolutely.
A parent wants their child to do well, not kind of, they want their child to be excellent and survive and take care of themselves so that when the parent dies, there's some assurance that the child will take care of themselves.
Absolutely, but you have followed the artist life. A lot of students I speak to have this desire to do the same thing, and yet, because of the expectations of the Filipino parent that want them to be a professional, they are unable to follow their dreams and their hearts. What advice can you give them?
Well, on the side of the parents, tolerance, because the expectation of a progressive career like you might find in the professions medical, law, etc., is pretty steady. It is not so if you were an actor. An actor is like the stock market, goes up and down and up and down.
But you've been able to use academics and art to make it a somewhat stable situation.
It is, but there are others who have found being a real estate broker has moderated that. There are others who have found jobs.
So you supplement.
Well, you find the job that will give you space to do the thing of your passion.
Talking about your passion,
yes.
I know that you're an actor. I know you write your own music. Talk to us about the music that you've written, because you are going to be performing on the show, and it's a song called Pinoy Dreams.
Pinoy Blues.
Pinoy Blues. Pinoy
yeah.
Blues.
Yeah.
Talk to us how this was born.
It's the idea that we are not, even though we are immigrated, we are not visiting. We are part and parcel of American fabric, and the idea of blues. Oh my God, everybody seems to have access to bad times. Why not Pinoy Blues? I guess the question is, why not? Why not Pinoy Blues? And
yeah, so the question is not why Pinoy Blues, but why not
Pinoy Blues?
Yes.
Very good. Yeah.
That's my professor. I get an A. I get an A. Yay! It's such a pleasure to be able to talk to you.
Thank you.
I know that every time I see you, I look forward to being able to speak to you. You speak volumes of wisdom. And for someone that's younger like me, I think it's important to have mentors in your community that are able to speak on the experience that brings us all together.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So thank you very much for being on the show. I wish we had more time once again, but indulge us please when we return, and do perform for us Pinoy Blues.
I would like that.
All right. Huwag niyo pong palitan ng channel dahil dito na po sa Kababayan Today, Pinoy Blues, pagbalik natin.